And of course, Andy will give the phone number. You can call his office anytime later this week. So before we get going with Andy and more, let's do a little business. Feature some of those great specialists that week after week on Monday afternoons bring you brand new editions like today of Money Talks.
Has the time finally come that you're ready to build your dream home? Whether your new home is designed to raise your family or designed for retirement, Mark Rost with Harlan Pat's Construction is the contractor to call. Over 35 years experience, Mark is an Energy Star builder. They can provide plenty of references on the quality of his work, satisfaction from his customers. You deserve the best quality, the best service, and the best price. That's why for new home construction, Mark Rost of Harlan Pat's Construction is the guy to call. 715-923-5866.
Hello, my name is Mary Navarro, manager for BMO Harris Bank. While BMO Harris Bank has undergone a number of changes over the years, many things have remained very much the same. For example, our teams remain deeply rooted in Wisconsin. Did you know that Wisconsin is home to more than 5,000 BMO Harris employees? We're active in Wisconsin with more than 1,000 of us volunteering hours of community service. And we all share a commitment to our customers to make money make sense. Through these efforts, BMO Harris Bank continues to grow. We're both the #1 lender and the #1 commercial bank in Wisconsin. I encourage you to stop by one of our branches today and let us describe for you how we're making money make sense.
Atrium Post Acute Care, located in O'Connell Falls, is dedicated to compassionate care in a home environment where residents are family. Atrium Post Acute Care emphasis is providing personalized care with each individual's goal at the forefront. The short-term rehabilitative stay is focused on therapy and regaining independence. For the residents needing long-term care, the emphasis on acquiring the highest level of physical and psychological wellness. Your choice for health care is an important decision for you and your family. Let Atrium Post Acute Care be your partner in helping you with your decision and providing quality skilled nursing care. We invite you to visit or tour Atrium Post Acute Care, 100 East Highland Drive in O'Connell Falls.
And that brings us back on today's live edition with a brand new guest for your enjoyment and also learning something. I've hosted over 3,000 episodes over the years of Money Talks in different cities, and I can honestly say I learned something on every single show from every single guest. And even though I've known Andy now for about a half a year or more, I learned something every day. Andy, thanks for being on the show today with us today.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
And, obviously you're going to probably say a lot of things that, if you were just sitting across the table like you and I are sitting here at the studio sort of on a one-on-one, the thing is now we're going to hit, thousands of households at the same time because, as I was prepping, I think there's a lot of people that have some misconceptions about the whole profession of physical therapy. But before we get that, let's do a little, due diligence here so our listeners can kind of know you a little through the microphone here. Give us a little background on how you even kind of decided to get into this particular specialization, and then what kind of got you experience-wise to be able to hang up your own shingle, Andy?
Well, initially I got interested in physical therapy from previous injuries that I had and experiences I had with therapists in high school sports.
Okay.
And I attended Central Michigan University and received a master's degree in physical therapy there, and got into private practice at 2 facilities over the course of 11 years. And 2 years ago, I opened my own clinic in Marinette.
Yeah, so you can kind of wear both hats, like a lot of our listeners should appreciate that. Again, you actually used and needed to use physical therapists because of, again, back in the athletic days and stuff, and that kind of just triggered your interest, I guess, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, when people, like I said, hear the word physical therapy, I'm not saying everyone thinks this way. A lot of people maybe are a bit more learned, but some people may just kind of zone off because they figure, well, that's not really going to be of any help to me. That might be help to my next door neighbor that's yelping about this, or my brother-in-law that's complaining about this. But actually, it covers such a wide range of things, doesn't it, Andy?
Absolutely. Physical therapy can range from pediatrics to geriatrics, from sports injuries to wound care, from a work setting to school settings. So there are physical therapists in all different areas, and obviously they do different things and have different specializations. Myself in particular, in an outpatient physical therapy setting, we specialize more in orthopedics, various forms of chronic pain, past injury, sports injuries, but we also do some of the basic generalized strengthening, conditioning for individuals, and other specializations like headache treatment and other forms of treatment.
Okay, Walt is trying to change the dial on us here. Don't turn that dial, Walt. We got Andy on a roll here. Okay, we're here with Andy Barker from Barker Physical Therapy out of the Marinette area, but certainly serving people throughout northeast Wisconsin and beyond. And Andy, you're always a breath of fresh air because, like I said, once people realize that, instead of just, my husband always complaining that, well, I guess this will never get better, or I'll never get back to doing this activity, or I'm never going to be pain-free, and hearing him, beef and nag me all my life. Now I've got a solution. I should actually have him maybe stop at some place like Barker Physical Therapy, right?
Well, absolutely. We treat patients every day that have injuries that have been chronic for multiple years that can change. Anything from back issues to neck pain, shoulder problems, difficulty with sleep postures, headaches, vertigo, a variety of different conditions.
Well, you mentioned some of those examples. I mean, I did a little study before here, so I knew that, but I think a lot of our listeners may think, they could understand the joint-related stuff, and whether it's, again, arthritis or an injury or a surgery or something, but when you start talking about helping with chronic migraine headaches or vertigo or things like that, a lot of people maybe never would have presumed that physical therapy can really address those things, Andy.
Absolutely. Physical therapy has evolved over time, and now the profession has evolved into a doctorate program. And with that, there's also a lot more specializations where we are better trained to treat a variety of things, such as the vertigo is what physical therapists typically can treat. Along with a variety of other ailments, as well as being able to better diagnose conditions that might be medical conditions that that individual needs to be referred to a physician for further evaluation.
And I don't make light of vertigo. I had that just one weekend years ago that just sort of came from out of nowhere. And yeah, I felt like I was drunk without the benefit of having the alcohol and spinning around. And you know where I'm going with that. But luckily then, it sort of went away in a day. But there are actually cases, just using that example, that, people repetitively get that, or sometimes they can have it for extended periods of time. I mean, I can't even imagine how a day-to-day living could go if people just shrug their shoulders and say, well, I guess I just got to wait till it goes away or something. That would be tough, wouldn't it, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people are surprised that certain ailments can get better in a short period of time if they're properly diagnosed and the correct treatments are performed in a timely manner.
834-3540. If you want to be maybe spry, give us a call. Dorothy will get you on the show with a pointed question you have for Andy, maybe a situation you've got or a loved one has, or a good friend that's a little stubborn. Or, like I said, Andy will certainly give his location and phone number a number of times before we are at the end of the show so that you can, on your own volition, go and talk with him. Now, Andy, the kind of mix, and I'm not saying I asked you to bring your cheat sheet because I'm sure it's sort of an ever-changing mix, but I mean, if, your client base was like an apple pie of some sort, I mean, what kind of sizes of the slices of pie, maybe from situations would there be, like, work-related matters versus, post-surgery matters versus just regular getting old matters would there be, and age ranges as far as, youth like in sports versus older people or someone in the middle? What's kind of the mix you guys deal with?
Well, we definitely see middle-aged to older folks are
You're looking at me when you say that. Thanks a lot, Andy. No, but you're right.
But we've treated individuals from, less than a year old all the way to high 90s.
Really? Now, give an example of, like, a young baby or under 1 year old. What kind of situations would a parent bring their young one in for physical therapy?
We do a form of treatment called craniosacral therapy, which is helpful for infants that are colicky and have
colicky, okay.
difficulty with feeding and those type might be fussy. It's a form of just gentle treatments that we do typically to the head of the infant, and theoretically it's supposed to release pressure on a variety of different areas, mostly the nerves, sinuses, other muscle points in the head region that could be irritated, giving the child the symptoms there. they're exhibiting.
Boy, and if anyone have friends that have parents or first-time parents with a colicky kid, I'll tell you that gets to be a drain on everybody. And if people would just know that, at least they should explore someone like you in the physical therapy angle, because I guess you can't ever say you're bad 100% on everything, but there's a good chance that could actually be alleviated, right, Andy?
Oh, absolutely. And there are some therapists that specialize just in pediatrics. Definitely I've seen a handful of my share, but I don't see them every day like some others may. But our clientele range mainly from 20 to 70 years old.
Okay. And do you have like a lot of situations, Joel gets hurt at work, because he was lifting too much or something, like tried to catch something as it fell off the forklift, and then you get like sort of, referrals from a lot of employers in the area for people that maybe want to get Joe back to work, as quick as he can, right?
Right. We see probably 10 to 15% worker comp injuries. Another small percentage of other injuries like motor vehicle accidents, whiplash injuries. But by far our highest group of clients come from chronic pain, especially spinal pain, orthopedics following surgical procedures, like total knee replacements, shoulder surgeries. And we also see a high percentage of folks that have vestibular problems like vertigo or other balance issues.
Okay. Good to know, because again, before people just either decide either for or against looking at options, they should at least add physical therapy as one of their menu items. Before we take our break here, Andy, I'll just throw you this sort of curveball here, but I know you'll answer it as honestly as you can. I mean, situations where people are kind of told by doctor whoever that, well, you've got to go in and have surgery on this, whether it's, again, carpal tunnel or rotator cuff or spinal surgery or fill in the blank. Would it behoove a lot of people before they officially go down that hallway for the surgery to at least look into and try physical therapy, that they could actually maybe either postpone the surgery or sometimes maybe eliminate the need for the surgery?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been dozens of patients that we've seen over the years that were scheduled for surgery that end up canceling a surgery because they've had a successful outcome. What you're seeing in the medical community more commonly now is that physicians are trying to explore all the conservative treatments prior to having to do a surgery. Surgery is typically a last option on the list, unless, of course, there's a serious medical condition happening or something that isn't going to physically heal without being surgically corrected.
Yeah, and I bring that up because, from years gone by, I had friends that, again, were sort of just, I guess, hell-bent on saying, well, I guess I got to get cut, and this is going to, be the solution because my doctor told me that. And at the time, they didn't even consider some other, preliminary options. Now, that doesn't mean that, again, maybe in all cases, the physical therapy will officially eliminate the surgery. But even if it happens in a lot of the cases, it'd be nice not to get cut, right, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. We try to encourage all of our patients to explore the conservative treatments, whether that's through therapy, exercise, chiropractic, massage, even injections, and acupuncture, those other options that are available.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about some of those other options quickly on the other side of the break. We're going to do a little business. Let's give people a first chance here that they can jot this down if they don't know where Barker Physical Therapy is located, as far as your address and maybe your phone number, Andy.
We are located on Cahill Road, which is in Marinette, behind the Yonkers, and our phone number is 715-330-5547.
All right, good job so far. We got a lot more to come in the stretch run. And again, if you're just listening, sit back, listen, learn, and then, maybe you're lucky, knock on wood. You don't have any ailments right now, though I think you got to be honest with yourself. Most people do. I do sometimes, too. But, again, if you have someone in your circle of friends or neighborhood or maybe your family that really could use something like that, and they never considered physical therapy, make sure you give Barker Physical Therapy a ring this week and at least talk about that. But first, we're going to feature the other great experts that every Monday afternoon chug along, like today, with another brand new live edition of Money Talks.
Hello, my name is William Gallagher. Since 1927, the families of Oconto and the surrounding areas have been counting on the Gallagher Funeral Home to help them through the loss of a loved one. Losing a loved one can be a stressful and emotional time, but we can help. I would be honored if you would let me help guide you through the planning of a meaningful service for you and your loved one by listening to you, understanding your needs, and easing your concerns. Please call us at 834-3000 and let us answer your questions. You can also visit the Gallagher Funeral Home and Cremation Services website at www.gallagherfuneralhome.net.
Are you looking for the best products and services that the sign and graphic industry has to offer? This is Anthony from Pisani Graphics, and we pride ourselves on offering our customers top quality options at competitive prices. Whether you're looking for a sign for your business, vehicle graphics, banners, or personalized garments, Pisani Graphics can accommodate any of your needs. Give us a call at 715-732-2296 or visit us at 1702 Main Street in Marinette to see how we can help you or your business get noticed.
Do you have a heating or cooling problem? Zaraski's Extreme Heating and Cooling does service on any brand of heating and cooling system. Plus, they offer 24-hour on-call service. Who else can do that? Call Zaraski's Extreme Heating and Cooling today at
863-2327, 863-2327, Zaraski Extreme.
Back here in today's live edition, got about 8 or 9 minutes of talk time left before we got to sign up. Boy, I could talk for hours with this gentleman, and hopefully, again, we'll be able to maybe get him on for a whole round of shows. But today is the here and now. We're here with Andy Barker from Barker Physical Therapy. Now, Andy, you kind of threw out a couple terms before the mid-show break that I just want to make sure didn't go so fast people didn't catch them, because in today's, world of new options and new angles, there's that word acupuncture you kind of threw in there, and again, a lot of people may not even think that a location like yours in small town USA, it's not Milwaukee or Chicago or something, would actually even have that as a viable option. And actually that really can do a lot of things that people would be amazed at, right, Andy?
Yes, we've had very good success with doing acupuncture in the clinic for a variety of different conditions, from chronic pain to acute injuries such as tendinitis and other injuries like that. Physical therapists over the past 5 to 8 years have been trained now and specializing in what is called dry needling acupuncture, which is an approach that treats a variety of muscle conditions, tendinitis, swelling, nerve pain, a variety of things in the body. There is a lot of overlap with traditional acupuncture and some of the points that are treated, but in theoretical basis it's a little bit different. And approximately 5 years ago I specialized and got certified in dry needling acupuncture.
Nice, and there's probably not that many people in our listening audience that live in a city that have someone that can offer that certified service. And, I'll say this kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I think a lot of people probably who have never even, seriously considered that could be useful to them or a loved one, when you mention acupuncture, they probably, remember old horror movies that, people are driving stakes into people's heads and their necks, and you look like Pincushion Man or whatever the thing is. And I'm kind of being light about this, but if that's their perception, then that itself is going to, keep them away from trying it. But it's almost the total 180-degree opposite, isn't it, Andy?
It absolutely is. I was even nervous when I went to get trained in it, not knowing. And I think over time, though, it's been well accepted, not only by patients, but also from others in the medical community. It is a very powerful technique, especially when utilized with what we do traditionally and other specialized areas of treatment that we do perform on a daily basis.
And I've never had it myself, but I've had some friends that went through it for, different maladies. And, I think it's fair to say, at least in their case, they were amazingly and positively surprised that, the skinniness of the needles, and they didn't even know that the needles were even in the different locations. It's kind of like, is it in yet? And all of a sudden they got 3 needles in the right pressure points, and so it really is not painful or scary or anything to most people, is it, Andy?
No, not at all. I think a lot of people are actually surprised that we're even completed with the treatment and they really didn't
Done
feel
already?
much. Right. But I usually tell people it's approximately 1 needle in 10 that you might feel some pressure,
Okay.
a little pick. And that's generally what I get, what people will tell me after they've had the treatment done.
Okay.
So it's relatively pain-free. People rarely get sore thereafter. Most of the time, within a 24-hour time frame, people will feel changes. Improved range of motion, reduced swelling,
Just like
pain.
that. That's amazing.
Pain will reduce. So,
And of course, the history of acupuncture, you know more than I do, but I mean, I think from my little, I kept awake in history class, it goes back, many, many moons, right?
absolutely. It's been practiced by many cultures for some documentations show over a couple thousand years.
We're probably one of the last cultures to actually embrace it almost, really, probably modern day America almost, huh?
Yes, that is true.
Okay, interesting. Andy Barker here from Barker Physical Therapy. As you can see, a fountain of knowledge, and he loves what he does. He's great at what he does. He's got a great staff there, and again, makes it very, very easy, relaxing, and personable. Again, if you or someone in your circle of friends needs to look at another alternative. Now, let's kind of explain how it really works. Let's say, we kind of flip someone's trigger here listening today, or again, they're thinking on behalf of a good friend, or, maybe a parent or something that's kind of stubborn. They never considered, stopping at a place like yours. How does the first meeting go? What do people have to bring for information? How does the whole thing kind of play out in a typical fashion, Andy?
Well, it depends on a person's individual insurance, or if they don't have insurance. If an individual does not have insurance, no referrals required in the state of Wisconsin to come to therapy. If a person has Medicare coverage, a physician referral is necessary in order to begin physical therapy, whether it's in a private clinic like mine or at a hospital-based setting.
Okay.
But we're seeing a trend with many of the commercial insurances that they are waiving that referral requirement.
Oh.
And so approximately 40 to 50% of insurances do not require. So we recommend that you call your insurance company prior, or if you're uncertain of the phone numbers, if you call our clinic, my reception staff will,
They can
will
figure
look
it out.
into it.
Yeah, and I would imagine, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would think that's from a practitioner standpoint, that's a good thing, because then more and more people have removed one more excuse of why they don't come in and see you, right?
Right, it's just one less hurdle that they have to jump over.
Okay. And then, the first meeting, obviously, you're not going to promise them the moon or anything, but all you want people to be is, honest about, what their situation is and where they thought it stemmed from. And like you said, sometimes it may turn out that maybe they were dead wrong, thinking that, yeah, I injured this when I was raking leaves or something, but it was really something that I did when I was a kid 20 years ago or something, right?
Yes, we try to do a thorough history as well as a thorough physical exam to try to identify what might be causing their pain. And in many cases, it could be multiple things. And depending on how many things are involved and how long the individual had the problem, we usually can take that information and make a guesstimate on how much treatment might be required. And if there are any other specialties that we're commonly working with, such as massage and therapists, chiropractors, so that maybe a team approach could be utilized in order to get the person's condition solved quicker.
Stuff that they never would have even considered or never were even suggested before. And is it kind of true, Andy, that in many cases, people think, well, I got a pain in my foot or something or whatever, that a lot of times maybe it's like referred pain from another part of their body. And sure, there might be something funky with their ankle or their foot, but really the real cause might be somewhere totally different in their body. Is that true?
Sure. The foot example is a good one. If someone comes in and they have a lot of foot pain or numbness, and yet it only bothers them maybe when they're laying in bed at night, that's most likely not a foot problem. But if it is, every time that they take a step or when they're going downstairs, then it might actually be a foot or ankle problem. So you have to try to identify not only, what they're feeling, but, does it make sense? And then we look for what could possibly be causing that. So a good example there is the low back typically is one of our first areas that we'll check, along with the pelvic joints on that particular side.
Okay. Well, and it gets back to what we were chatting off the air, and I'm not saying this, disrespectful, because I'm part of the consumers out there too, but a lot of people kind of do a lot of self-diagnosis sometimes of, whatever their injury or malady or pain might be. And, they may read on the internet a whole bunch of stuff. They think they know what caused it and what's going to cure it. But, unless you got that PhD and all that experience, they might be better off just coming and have someone like you look at their situation, right, Andy?
There are a lot of people that do a great job of understanding their bodies, and that does make our job a lot easier when they can come in and have things semi-figured out, or they might have already found successful treatments that have worked for them in the past, so there's no sense trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
However, there is a lot of information out there that can get people going in the wrong direction and approaching their problem absolutely incorrectly, and that might explain why it can become a long-standing problem.
Oh, yeah. And I think probably just as bad, we're going to have to wrap up today, Andy, would also be the people that kind of give up. They think that, well, it's just part of getting old and, I'm too old to help. People should never have that attitude with a lot of these pains, should they?
There are a lot of people that do come in that are pleasantly surprised at how much better they get. And I'm told at least once or twice a week that, they couldn't believe they got better.
Good.
Because they might have had this condition for years.
Yep, and put up with it needlessly, but it's better late than never to fix it, right, Andy?
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you what, we could talk for hours. Hopefully we'll get you on some future editions, but we got to wrap up for today. Let's leave people, again, a contact phone number, the address if they're driving around Marinette this week for maybe the 4th of July holiday so they can scout out where your office is. And I would encourage anyone, whether it's for you or someone in your circle of friends, check out people like Andy at Barker Physical Therapy. Where do they find you, Andy?
We're at 2706 Cahill Road, Marinette, Wisconsin. Our phone number is 715-330-5547, or you can visit our website at barkerptclinic.com.
Thanks a lot for squeezing a lot of good information in less than 30 minutes. You did a great job. Have yourself a good 4th of July. And, 4th of July, we won't have a live show. I'm actually getting a day off for once, but we'll be back the following Monday. We're going to do a little mid-year tax review for a lot of people that were bellyaching about the results last year. Well, you already got a half a year to the new year. Have you done anything new with ideas or planning or strategies? Or are you going to go down the same road and end up in the same quicksand? We'll talk about that and more when we come back the Monday after 4th of July. Have a great week, everyone. And again, follow through with Andy and his staff at Barker Physical Therapy. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot for joining us on another live edition of Money Talks. And if you have some family or friends that missed the show, keep in mind all of our shows are on a free podcast in this show archive. All you have to do is go to listentomoneytalks.com. and continue to enjoy some free advice from some of our experts like Atrium Post-Acute Care of Oconto Falls, Islandville, Scattered and Anderson CPAs, BMO Harris Bank, the Gallagher Funeral Home, Main Street Electric Tattoo, Pisani Graphics, Zaratsky Extreme Heating and Air Conditioning, and Harlan Pat's Construction. Tune in next week for another brand new edition.
You're listening to WOCO, Oconto, Wisconsin.
Next week. See ya.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.
Of its AAA credit rating, and the Brexit had an effect on the U.S.